Welcome back to the Quickstart Guide for Recovery from Addiction and Co-Occurring Disorders. I am your host, Dr. Dawn-Elise Snipes. We are going to finish up talking about relapse prevention planning in this segment. Remember that relapse is the return to something that has been previously stopped, and it can be multidimensional. There are physical aspects to relapse, affective aspects, and cognitive aspects, and you learned about those in the last unit. In this unit, we're going to talk about environmental and relationship aspects of relapse. In environmental relapse, you start paying less attention to keeping your environment safe, keeping your environment positive, keeping your environment healthy. You may start taking old routes to work or to your friend's house. You may go to high-risk places, or you may start allowing relapse triggers in your environment. It's important to be aware of what those sights, smells, sounds are so you can try to minimize your exposure to them. You're not going to be able to eliminate them completely from everywhere. You can't ensure that, if you're trying to stop smoking, for example, you can't ensure that when you walk in through Walmart, you're not going to walk past someone that doesn't smell like smoke. It's going to happen. There are going to be triggers that you can't avoid, which is why you need to have coping skills planned out ahead of time to deal with those things. But there are a lot of times and places that you can ensure that your environment is safe. And safety is the first thing that we really need in order to move forward in recovery. And that is emotional safety as well as physical safety. What are signs or behaviors that you're beginning an environmental relapse? If you're depressed, for example, or you have major depressive disorder, you may start, not wanting to bathe. You may stop cleaning your house. You may keep the blinds closed all the time. Those are all clues that you may be headed down a road towards a depressive episode. So it's important to pay attention to that. With addiction, we already talked about some of those signs of environmental relapse. How can you increase your awareness of your environmental relapse behaviors? And what things have you done in the past to address these issues? For example, forcing yourself to open the blinds every day and maintaining some level of organization. Maybe it's not perfect, but some level of organization. Again, look at the underlying cause. A lot of times when environmental relapse happens, it's serving a purpose. If you are maybe headed down the road towards a depressive relapse, that may indicate to you, if you stop, doing some of those things, it may indicate to you that you are, running out of energy. You're starting to get fatigued. That may be an early sign of an upcoming depressive episode. You need to figure out, why am I getting fatigued? What can I do to address that? But those environmental cues are going to tell you. They're like, flashing red lights that say, hey, we've been here before. And when you start doing this, bad stuff is not too far down the road. In relationship relapse, you may start spending time with people who co-sign on your garbage, and this is true for addiction or mental health issues, or who enable your anxiety, depression, or addictive behaviors. Maybe they make excuses for you, or they do things that support it. Maybe you start hanging around other people who are similarly negative and pessimistic and grumpy all the time. Symptoms of relationship relapse. You've returned to the old people who co-sign on your crap. You've withdrawn from your healthy social supports. You've become self-centered or withdrawn. You've started feeling bad about yourself because you have a relationship with yourself as well. You've started needing excessive approval from others. You start feeling worse about yourself, so you're looking to others to tell you you're okay. And you may begin having abandonment fears. Spend another 30 minutes thinking about signs or behaviors that you are beginning a relationship relapse. How do your relationships change leading up to a relapse? What are some things that could give you a clue? How can you increase your awareness of these behaviors for early intervention? And what things have you done in the past to address these issues? The last two types of relapse are environmental and relational. It's important to address even subtle triggers in your environment when possible. Subtle triggers are like your old self whispering in your ear. They're saying, hey, you remember when? It's important to pay attention to those and keep your environment as healthy as possible. With relationships, relapse can mean withdrawing from healthy relationships or engaging in unhealthy relationships, or even starting to feel bad about yourself and ignore your own personal needs and wants for recovery. It's vital to, again, be aware of signs that a relapse may be happening, but also to look underneath and say, what's causing this? Why am I withdrawing from people? Why am I becoming more negative or hanging around people who are going to reward me for being negative and angry all the time? Final thoughts. Recovery is about beginning new behaviors, encouraging positive feelings, and embracing new ways of thinking, not just eliminating old behaviors, people, places, and things. I want you to think about life like a great big old box that you get from Amazon, maybe. I don't know. Inside, when you first get it, there's a bunch of stuff that's broken and, you just don't want it. You want to get rid of that stuff. You take it out of the box. But if all you do is take stuff out of the box and you don't put positive stuff into the box, then all you're left with is an empty box. And that's not living. That's just an empty box. It's important to not only take out the bad, but add in the good. Relapses can be physical, affective, cognitive, environmental, or relationship, or all of the above. Review your relapse prevention plan and practice mindfulness each day to help you become aware of your personal daily vulnerabilities for relapse. Some days you may wake up and you're feeling tired, you're feeling run down. Well, that may be a trigger, for example, to start drinking too much caffeine, which may be a trigger that, can lead to a full-blown relapse. Be aware of what you need. It's important to start getting in tune with yourself. Finally, if you have extra time, review your prior relapses. Spend some time doing personal reflection. What was happening before the relapse? What triggered the relapse? Relapses occur when old behaviors are more rewarding or stronger than the new ones. So what was more rewarding than your recovery program? Why did it seem like recovery was too hard? Before you relapse, what changes in your emotions, thoughts, behaviors, and your interactions with others? And what have you learned by going through all of these activities and reviewing prior relapses that you can use to strengthen your recovery plan for the future?